Saturday Meditation, February the 8th, 2020, Jim channeling. I'm Kuo, and am with this instrument at this time. We greet each of you in love and in light. We thank each of you for inviting our presence in your circle of seeking this afternoon. This is a great privilege for us, for it is our way of being of service to others, and thereby progressing further along our own spiritual path. Thus together, we walk the same path. We would ask a usual favor of you, that is, that you take the words and concepts which we offer to you in response to your queries, and use them in whatever fashion has meaning for you. If any do not have meaning, set them aside without a second thought. This then frees us to speak as we will, and share more of that love and light of the one Creator that shines within us all this day. Is there a query with which we may begin?
Lin, Kuo, there was a common theme in our discussion before this channeling about a sort of convergence of energy, and that we're all noticing spiritual capabilities and powers that seem more available than they were before. Could you perhaps comment on the nature of this sudden increase in energy?
I am Kuo, and am aware of your query, my sister. The cosmic energies of the fourth density vibrations continue to stream towards your planetary sphere in a manner which may be seen as waves, shall we say, almost as if they were waves upon the beach. When a certain wave crashes upon the shore, it brings with it certain opportunities that those who are open to such opportunities may take advantage of. As the progressive crashing of the waves upon the shore continues, there is an increasing opportunity to move to those energy centers within each seeker of truth, we should say, conscious seeker of truth, that have need of being more activated and energized, so that they are functioning in a more full and bright manner. These waves of cosmic streamings, then, are a kind of intensification or magnifier of the potential that awaits within each conscious seeker of truth, so that as the waves hit the centers of energy, they begin to intensify the potential that was pre-incarnatively programmed within each energy center. This potential is the framework for the pre-incarnative choices of lessons to be learned. For many, there is a great similarity in what is occurring, for there are very basic lessons that are necessary to be able to utilize upon your third density planet. The interrelationships of the orange ray, of one-to-one personal relationships, is that which is the beginning of the expansion of the intelligent energy that moves through the red ray up to the orange ray. The group energies of the yellow ray, then, are next in line for activation when the time is right for the seeker, and when the appropriate energies have been set in motion in its own life pattern. This unique configuration for each seeker is then aided by the crashing of the waves upon the shore of the entity's consciousness. There is also the target, shall we say, of this third density illusion in the green ray energy center, the activation of the heart, so that unconditional love and compassion may be released. And the entity then is what you may call harvestable, or able to be a candidate for moving into the fourth density of love and compassion. These energies from the, shall we say, distant stars, are a combination of the universal intelligent energy that is omnipresent, and yet which, at some point in what you would call time, takes a direction, so that according to the clock-like face of the galactic spiral, there is the sending of these energies to the correct location, that will aid all seekers of truth, who are ready for such aid. Those who are not ready and who are not conscious seekers may find difficulties within the life patterns occurring if they are not able to defend themselves, either consciously or subconsciously, from such crashing of waves of intelligent energy upon their shore of consciousness. Thus, these experiences that each seeker has that are in common within many other seekers have a unique flavor for each seeker. For though all may learn the same types of lessons, each learns a lesson in a personal and unique fashion. For each of you is like a snowflake, unique to yourself and like no other. Is there another query at this time?
Kathy, yes, I have one, Kuo. And it is somewhat of a follow-up to the question just asked, and concerns the waves of intelligent energy instreaming and touching upon our individual and group consciousness. And if you could comment on how these instreamings of intelligent energy will be raising up the frequency of our planet, and those of us seeking to serve others, and how those who are seeking to be better or higher healers, workers in energy, and with spirit to help others, how their energies may increase to help others because of these instreaming waves of intelligent energy. Is there a point where they may align the seeking to help others aligned with the higher energies, and such work becomes more available and more effective?
I am Kuo, and am aware of your query, my sister. These cosmic instreamings of intelligent energy find their focus within each seeker's energy centers, as the seeker is ready for such. The seeker who is pursuing the path of healing is one who has gone beyond the green ray energy center, has moved into the blue and indigo work, the work of the adept. This type of work, then, may also be enhanced by these cosmic instreamings in a more conscious fashion, shall we say. It is often well to take special meditative periods in a daytime where you are able to retire into the quietness of the self, the greater self, and allow the cosmic instreamings to be perceived within your own energy centers. visualizing that center, then, being opened, fully cleared and cleaned, so that as you move from the green to the blue and the indigo, you are creating a pathway for contact with intelligent energy, and then intelligent infinity, that can bring through the healing energies of the One Creator, to be utilized in whatever manner is chosen. It is recommended that each healer be conscientious in the apprehension and utilization of these cosmic energies, for they are quite powerful. It is well to form a, shall we say, ritual or pattern of use of such energies in your healing practice, so that you see your connection to the universe through these cosmic instreamings, thusly becoming, figuratively said, a hand of God, working in a manner which is in alignment with the highest and best for the one to be healed. This is a process which allows the use of these energies in the most propitious manner. For they are at this time in great abundance, and there is the possibility of, shall we say, an overdose of such if particularly conscious attention is not paid to how they are used. Is there another query at this time?
Austin, I've got a couple in the same line of questioning. The first one might be very similar to the last response, but I'd like to ask it. One of the effects that we've talked about this evening is an increased ability to manifest our own reality, or more specifically, the effect that our thoughts have on our reality. And this seems like it carries a pretty heavy responsibility in terms of how we handle our thoughts. I was wondering if you could talk specifically about that in the role that sort of ability plays in the path of a positive seeker.
I am Kuo and am aware of your query, my brother. The thoughts that a seeker thinks are the basic representations of the seeker's being. They are the most important feature which, when balancing is continued or begun, may be considered first. The thoughts have a power that comes from within the being that may be seen as developed during the incarnation, or even being pre-incarnatively originated. The thoughts, then, begin to reflect the seeker's attitude or perspective upon the world. This attitude determines how the world is experienced. Thus, the thoughts that one thinks are the signposts or guidelines which are, shall we say, filled in by experience in the daily round of activities. Thusly, if one wishes to manifest a certain quality within one's life pattern, it is possible to hold the image of the desired manifestation in thought, in meditation, and draw unto one that particular quality or thing. There is also the strong possibility that what one fears is also drawn to one. Thusly, is well to take care with those fearful thoughts that may hold some type of sway over one's perception in any particular area of endeavor. It is well not to act out of fear, or to react to fear, but to balance it with the knowledge that each is the one infinite creator. That there is nothing to fear, for all is well. We all live and move and have our being within a creation of unity. Is there a further query, my brother?
Austin, yes, thank you very much. If the effect of our thoughts on our reality is increasing, it seems like that creates sort of disorientation for our society as people all have their own individual beliefs and stories. And I would guess that has something to do with the seeming increasing separation and polarization in something like our political sphere. Can you give any advice on how to navigate this sort of new landscape, where individual people's realities are becoming more and more solidified in their own perception, and how we can interact with others when their reality seems so different from our own?
I am Kuo and am aware of your query, my brother. Each entity has its own pattern and time of awakening. Those entities who are more successful at allowing their pre-incarnative choices to manifest within their life patterns find that there is a freer flowing of energy that occurs when they are able to do this. This intelligent energy flowing through one's being, then, is not obstructed by any blockages of convoluted or distorted thought patterns. This allows the seeker to move in a harmonious fashion with the energies, thusly energizing the positive desire to be of service to others. Those upon your planetary sphere who do not consciously have a spiritual path of seeking have certain configurations of mental activity and patterns of thought which are also increased or solidified by the intelligent energy streaming to your planet at this time. This is in accordance with what they have chosen for their life pattern at this time. The intelligent energy is simply an indifferent neutral magnifier of what is. Thusly, the choices that have been made by each person upon the planetary sphere are likely to be enhanced so that they may go further in that direction as a function of their free will choice. If at some point the distance they have traveled into that type of thinking becomes uncomfortable for them, they are always free to choose another path. And this is what is possible for many upon your planet at this time, for they have, over a period of many years, been used to the control of media advertising, or governmental policies, or peer pressures, or the various ways in which the third density cultures exert pressure over their peoples. Thusly, that which is becomes greater as it is affected by the cosmic instreamings. And when you see yourself moving into interactions with such entities, it is well to keep in mind firstly, that you are seeing the Creator standing in front of you, that this Creator has made certain choices that it may or may not be aware of. Certain choices may be causing a various kind of disorientation, or pain, or anger, or jealousy, or of many other types of emotions, so that they are at the mercy of their own previous choices. A great deal of compassion may be felt for such entities, for they know not what they do, and yet they continue to do it. If you can give your love in some way that supports what you see as the core of their being, that is the Creator in human form, then you have done all that you can do in the way of relating in a fashion that is helpful and is truthful. There is oftentimes the desire to suggest certain changes in their behaviors. If this is asked for, it is possible to aid in that way as well. However, to offer advice that is not asked for is not usually helpful. Is there another query at this time?
Nancy, I have a query, Kuo. My question is, what is healing? It seems as though we're all working toward healing, and whether it be our world, the environment, ourselves, each other, and even within the physical body, it seems as though there are blockages, whether they be physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual. So, is healing the bringing of light and removing the blockages, and, can you clarify?
I am Kuo, and am aware of your query, my sister. Healing, in the very most basic sense, is creating an atmosphere within an entity's mind/body/spirit complex, where each energy center is able to allow the intelligent energy of the one infinite creator to move clearly and cleanly through each center, and ascending to the violet, eventually realizing unity with the one creator. This is the ideal. However, the various blockages that are found in the lower energy centers are usually a product of pre-incarnative choices that represent lessons that the entity wishes to learn during the incarnation. The blockages oftentimes are a representation of how the mind has failed to apprehend the lesson at hand. And thus, the lesson has been given to the body in a symbolic form that will hopefully concentrate the attention of the seeker upon the catalyst or the situation which has brought about the blockage. Usually, this is a certain configuration of mind which sees a certain kind of relationship in a distorted fashion, so that there is the need to balance the perception. If these balances can be achieved by the seeker, then the blockages can be removed. If this is not possible for the seeker alone, oftentimes a healer may aid in such healing by offering to the one to be healed an opportunity to see the blockage more clearly in the metaphysical sense, so that it may choose to release the distorted perception and embrace a novel configuration that would equate with healing. The healer does this by allowing the entity to reach a contact with its higher self that then appraises the situation and determines whether the appropriate degree of learning of the lesson has been achieved. If this is the case, then the healing very likely will take place, and that which is broken will be made whole. Is there another query at this time?
Austin, our friend S from China, wrote recently and he had a friend who asked him to relay a question to us. And it reads, now, there is an outbreak of the novel coronavirus in China, and it has caused lots of worries, rumors, separations among people, as this coronavirus outbreak partially resembles the SARS outbreak in China in 2002 to 2003. Kuo, without infringing upon the free will and providing your point of view, could you indicate the origin of the novel coronavirus? Is the coronavirus man-made, as Kuo indicated for SARS? And whether it is man-made or not, what's the metaphysical meaning behind this coronavirus outbreak? Does this kind of collective catalyst also reflect the dysfunctional, unhealthy, and pathological aspects of our current social system, just as individual physical distortion reflects catalyst unused by the mind complex?
I am Kuo, and am aware of the query, my brother. This is a subject which we have indeed covered before. For various outbreaks of this nature are attempts by what you may call the hidden powers to control the population of the planet. For your planet is very heavily populated at this time, and it is easier for those who seek control to control fewer entities. Thusly, there is the manufacture of various types of diseases that have been accomplished over the past few decades with the goal of reducing the population of the planet. The entities so involved in this experiencing of the coronavirus are entities which have reincarnatively offered themselves in service to the planetary mind in order that there may be a resolution or completion of certain cycles of vibration, that is to say, that there may be the realization of their ability to serve their fellow human beings by becoming infected in a fashion which reflects the need to find a cure for this particular virus. This is a manner of being which each entity undertook in order to become more able to open their own hearts in love and compassion for others. For as they find themselves afflicted with this particular virus, they become more and more compassionate for their fellow humans who also have this virus within their being and must suffer the consequences. Thus it is a way of, shall we say, utilizing a negative initiative in a positive fashion that was foreseen before the incarnation began. There are many such possibility/probability vortices that have been and are possible within your third density illusion at this time. For the harvest time is a time of great upheaval and change. There's much volatility amongst many nations and individuals and groupings within nations that makes it necessary for the type of experience that is now being felt to be assessed in a manner which does not bring fear. However, most entities are subject to the fear aspect of such an outbreak of a virus of this nature. There is, in such an experience, the opportunity to see that the Creator is knowing itself and all that happens around one and within one. When this type of attitude can be taken, then the negative efforts to control the population in one manner or another may be transmuted alchemically, individually, for each entity so able to do so in a manner which sees the planetary game as that which is played upon the world stage, in a manner that can offer an entity a great variety of responses. If the entity can't choose the positive vision of the Creator experiencing itself, then it draws unto itself the basic nature of the power of the truth of unity, that is, that all is one, and that though one may pass from this life, there is no loss. The one still remains in each entity and in each endeavor, so that there is always the knowledge that the one who exists in all is always there experiencing this event in a manner which informs the Creator more and more of the nature of itself. Is there a further query, my brother?
Austin, yes, S himself sent a follow-up to the question, and I think that you just touched on this. But I'd like to read it just in case there's any more that you could say. S wrote, Ra mentioned in 34.7 that these so-called contagious diseases are those entities of second density which offer an opportunity for this type of catalyst. If this catalyst is unneeded, then these second density creatures, as you would call them, do not have an effect. In each of these generalizations you may please note that there are anomalies, so that we cannot speak to every circumstance, but only to the general run, or way of things as you experience them. And S continues, so it seems that in cases of anomalies, even if the catalyst is unneeded, these second density creatures can still have an effect. I just wonder if SARS is one case of anomalies, since SARS can be regarded as a biological weapon, according to Kuo. If so, is it always possible for those infected with any man-made virus such as SARS to nullify its effects and heal themselves? I ask this question just for the purpose of encouraging hope and faith in these cases of anomalies.
I am Kuo and am aware of your query, my brother. We will agree that for the conscious seeker of truth who finds the spiritual path to the One to be the only path worth traveling, this type of virus can be seen as a mere rock upon the path that may be avoided by seeing the One in all and loving the One in all, no matter what is the action of any upon one, as attempts are made to control one. If one can give love without expectation of return and resist not evil, then one has a power over evil which cannot be broken. It is the power of love, the power to cure all that is unwell, to make whole all that is broken, and to bring to light all that is hidden. Is there a further query at this time?
Austin, no more from that line, Kuo, thank you. We do have one sent in from Lily, who references a previous Kuo session May 28, 1995 in which you talked about metaprograms of consciousness available to seekers. And the quote she uses is, there are layers of what you call metaprograms available according to the intensity of seeking, and shall be released as a kind of, shall we say time capsule, but more in a desired release nature. Lily writes, I wonder if Kuo may give us an example of these metaprograms of consciousness.
I am Kuo and am aware of your query, my sister. We find that such metaprograms are utilized by entities who are working within the higher energy centers so that an experience in the daily round of activities may be seen to be available to each energy center in what you may call the metaprogram in higher and higher aspects. You may meet a person on the street and have a collision, say, with cars, and the beginning conversation begins with anger and confusion and the testing of the survival of the red ray. And then perhaps one of the entities suggests that maybe there is another way, and a conversation is begun. And there is the opportunity to see how each contributed to the accident and that it would not have happened had not both done what they did. Then, the energies may be raised even higher to the yellow array as the entities converse with the local officials investigating the accident, so that the joint decision of both parties to the accident is seen to be recorded in the official records of the police, shall we say. After such an experience, it is possible that a continued relationship could develop so that eventually the entities could share in green ray love and acceptance of each other, finding coincidences in their lives that brought them together at that point in time that resulted in what was called an accident and yet could be a coincidence. This may be taken further and further for those who would become adepts, but we feel that this is sufficient for the type of designation that the one known as Lily was desiring. Is there a final query at this time?
Austin, one more short one from Maria, who wrote in, why does Ra call a crystal frozen light?
I am Kuo and am aware of your query, my sister. Ra calls crystals frozen light because they began as light which was in movement with photons vibrating at various angles of rotation in various speeds of rotation, so that the light was of a certain nature. And as this light, then, created a conjunction with various minerals, or earth elements on any particular planetary sphere under the conditions of the first density, where the wind and fire teach earth and water to be formed, so that life could become viable, and minerals could be formed, then, there are various types of crystals that are also formed in this type of an environment. the light of intelligent energy begins to interact with other types of earthy mineral forms and creates, in some instances due to volcanic eruptions or other heating effects, the kinds of crystals that you are aware of that have an organized latticework structure that allows them to traduce the intelligent energy or light of the Creator in a certain fashion, because they are in harmony with all light. At this time, we shall take our leave of this instrument and this group, thanking each as always for your kind invitation and your rapt attention and your most heartfelt queries. We are so grateful to have been able to spend what you call time with you. We are those of Kuo. We leave you now in the love and in the light of the one infinite Creator, leaving each as always in that love and light, in that power, in praise and thanksgiving. Adonai, Vasuborgus.